So, I don't know if you have or not, but they need to have an agreement prior to the release of the album for it to be legal. So even if you signed an agreement with them yesterday, that couldn't repair the situation of the theft and everything that's taken place up to that point,
Okay.
So, but the thing is, what it is that the fact that artists weren't signing agreements is that the criminality just became so normalized that everybody is doing it, but it is all illegal, So, I told a lot of my clients, did you know that they're not allowed to release your music without your signature? And people's minds are blown because they've been told for decades that the producer signed the rights over and that was perfectly legal, and that's not true. So that is the basis of how we're going to strike back at them.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you signed any agreements with Greensleeves, more recently, or did you sign with them at a later point?
No.
Have you ever signed any paperwork with them?
I think maybe once. I don't know. Maybe about a couple. I think so. Maybe, but I don't recall. I got to try to contact Oliver Chaston or somebody from VP Records. I only signed 3 years. I signed a 3 years distribution contract with VP Records.
Okay.
Distribution.
Right. So what I saw is that you had 4 albums out on Greensleeves, 1981 through to 1984. Sorry, and then 2004, you released an album on VP and Greensleeves produced by Blacker Dread called Eek-A-Speaker.
Yeah.
And that's when Olivier was there. He was there at that time.
Okay.
He's left now.
No, you fired him.
Oh, they fired him, right? Okay, yeah. I heard he paid people and they didn't like that so much, so that's probably why they got rid of him. So that was probably the time around 2004 that you signed something. But do you think you signed anything back in the 80s when Linval and Junjo were producing your albums?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I didn't sign nothing with Junjo or Linval.
No, because obviously the producers, what they were doing, the labels are actually getting the producers to sign illegal agreements. So the producers quite often were signing agreements with the labels that said that they had agreements with the artists. And of course, none of the Jamaican producers ever had any agreements with their artists.
No,
that were written down. But of course, the labels over here knew that perfectly well, but they were trying to cover themselves. But basically, the way we're framing it is that they're inducing the producers to commit a crime without realizing.
But John Gillards wasn't the real producer, It was me and Bruce Radix, He would just pay the studio and left us in the studio and come back when all the finished product.
Yeah, So here's the thing. In terms of the legalities, Junjo is what you would call the executive producer. So he's the guy that fronted the money, right? And then you guys were the actual technical producers.
Definitely.
Now, unfortunately, the law sides with the money man, right? So whoever pays for the recordings and the tapes and the sessions and everything is deemed to be the legal owner of the master recordings.
Yeah.
But the fact is that unless you sign something with the producer or with the label, you retain your rights, and your rights are 50% share in the music. Okay. So that's why it's illegal for them to release the music without your consent.
Okay.
But it means unless you sign a piece of paper saying otherwise, you're entitled to 50% of the recordings. Even though technically Junjo is the owner, you still have 50% share in it. He has the control over it, but you have your rights, and your rights cannot be transferred unless you sign anything. So if you haven't signed anything with anybody for those albums, then those you've been the victim of fraud and theft, basically.
Okay.
So that's good to know. So you think that you probably started getting paid by VP around 2004 when you made that agreement with Olivier?
I think they were selling a little bit of royalties sometime for them old records and shit and stuff, but it wasn't that now. Then again, I didn't see a statement from Ika Speaker, from Black
Right.
Dread.
Okay. So no payments or accounting for the Ika Speaker.
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay.
I think
Yeah,
I think Black Dread say went
Yeah,
to
sorry.
I think Black Dread say went to Green Sleeve, and they gave him £10,000 up front. I think he may give me £1,000 or something like that. I mean,
Is that all?
directly, I don't see any royalties from Black Dread.
Right. Sorry, I'm just making notes of that. Okay, but you never saw anything after that. And then what about in terms of you said that you signed a distribution deal with them?
Yeah, 80-20. They get 20 and I get 80. But they don't
Okay,
promote.
what material was that for?
I mean, they put Food Upon the Get to You Table album, which is the first one. And then they got a few singles out.
So
Stuff like that.
these were on your own label, but they were distributing it.
Yeah. Then they got
Okay.
And then they got one releasing tomorrow. Song called Tell Jesus to Call Me Back. And then the email I sent you, HiltonRipton8@gmail.com, seemed like we found out that Concord, some kind of publishing company, so that they own my stuff and blah blah blah. I don't think so. I think they go as Sunset Records. I think I got some.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you about, because I made a list of the publishers and I saw that Concord are collecting for a publisher called Eek-A-Mouse Music.
Yeah.
Which is connected to MPCA Plaything Music, which is connected to Penny Farthing Music.
Yeah.
But do you have any knowledge of any of those companies?
No. The knowledge I got knowledge about Sunset Records. Because they were distributing my album entitled Black Cowboy.
So that Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah,
Records.
Sunset Records.
Yeah.
They were doing that. But now we got a call from The Simpsons a few months ago, and they say they want to place my song entitled Black Cowboy on one episode of The Simpsons.
Okay.
Which is gonna, and they drew up the contract and da. I think I should have turned it over to George Michael Lowe. And yeah, him could get in some little stuff like that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about him because I just got a message from him today.
Yeah, because George Michael.
So he's your booking agent.
Yeah, it's my agent from way back.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? And then I think Warner Music or something like that. They gave us $20,000 just for that 30 seconds on The Simpsons. But I ain't getting the money yet until it hears. Ain't gonna hear. It's gonna be in the year the 28th of this, the 26th of this month.
Okay.
Yeah, Black Cowboy soundtrack. So I don't know if they got some cartoon character Eek-A-Mouse or the Bart Simpson gonna talk about weed and all kind of stuff like that. We don't know.
Okay.
You know,
Cool.
but I think you and Josh should just talk about that. I mean, Josh was talking about that same Hilton Ripton AG. I want to know who's doing it. But if I can mean that, I think could be a guy in Germany named Alvin Heim, ALWINHEIM, because he lied to me about getting me a 4-year visa. I mean, he got me a 1-year visa, and another 10 months, he just ran off and stuff like that. But if I can mean, I did sign some documents with him saying that he should collect my all my royalties because he said that
wow. Okay.
he said that's the only way I can get that 4-year visa, and then after that 4-year visa, I get my European passport. But he lied to me.
Right.
So I'm trying to find out who's collecting their money, all them sound exchange and all them stuff.
Okay. All right. So, how long ago was that?
I was from the year of our Lord 2006 when I first met him until
Sorry. When? Sorry.
2006.
Okay.
He got a company called Parker.com.
Parker.com.
Yeah. I was using my money to take some he took two video guys on tour using my money. I'm making documentary and up to now he have all them stuff in the archive and something.
Okay. And when did you sort of fall out with him? When did that all sort of fall apart?
Well, if I can mean that, 2006, 10 months afterwards.
Okay.
He decided to talk. He decided to talk to me. He won't speak to me anymore. I don't know why. I'm gonna find him. Yep.
So he just went missing. He went off the radar.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have a copy of the agreement that you signed with him?
No, he has it.
Right. Okay.
I think I may have it, but it's MIA, missing in action.
Okay. So what? So you see that email you sent me earlier, that email address. So somebody is using that email address to collect your sound exchange royalties. Is that right?
Our royalties. That's what Josh sent to me. Then again, so we try to use that enigma. Try to crack the code. Yeah,
Okay.
so we don't know
who. Right. Sorry. All right. So what I'd suggest, and so you happy for me to speak to George about your business affairs?
Yeah.
Okay.
They can call him now and he's up all the time.
Okay, cool. Well, what I'll do is, because I wanted to speak to you first, because I've got quite a lot of stuff to ask you about of the history of it all, which he probably wouldn't be aware of, and then I'll call him tomorrow, and I'm going to suggest some things he can do to get your royalties secured. Because what I think you can probably do, for instance, like the sound exchange, is to send them an email with your a copy of your photo ID.
I think okay. I think Job was doing that already.
Okay, all right, cool. Well, hopefully he's taking care of that.
He's not the expert in that field, so maybe you can just coach him for a while.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, to be honest, it's something we can do as soon as we've got you signed up.
I'm ready to sign.
Legally, we can't act for you until
I'm ready to sign. Send me the piece of paper and I'll sign right away.
Yeah, but the thing is that's why we always take the information first, because I have to write up the statement, and then the statement goes into the agreement, you see. Okay. So we don't just send our agreements out, because each one is personal to each person. You know, all of the terms and percentages are exactly the same for everybody, but because everybody has their own experience and their own story of what's happened to them, we always do that bit first, because for us the information is important. So it's the first thing that we do in order to start the work for you.
Yeah, like a criminal lawyer, huh?
Yeah, well, look, I'll be honest with you. We're not actually lawyers. We're better than music lawyers.
Okay,
music lawyers are part of the racket. Have you ever used music lawyers in the past?
I don't think so.
No. Okay. So I'll just explain very briefly and simply to you how the racket works.
Yes, I used to have music lawyer before. His name is
Okay.
Tony Abner Jr. I'm trying to find him. He works at the Avenue Office